with a destiny. Got purpose and zest, you see. Books, business, and accessories. She walks in favor and she's blessed indeed. She keeps her head and her heels high, and her limit soars beyond the sky. If it's purpose she's pushing, you've tuned in with Table Talk with a Diva. Why? Join in, it might free ya. Hey, hey. And if you're feeling down, come in. The enemy he's trapped won't win. For God has given you vision, and in the end you shall win. Hey. Table Talk with a Diva. Why? Join in, it might free ya. Hey.
Well, great evening, and welcome to Table Talk with the Diva. I am your host, Arthur Pierre Collins, super excited and delighted to be at the table with you. We are going to get this party started. I am so grateful for these two women of vision, women of influence, Jada Johnson and Morgan, the mom financial strategist. I have two phenomenal women that have stepped out in their purpose, gave God their yes, and they are moving and doing the dang thing. So I need you to get on, pull up a table at the chair this evening with your queen, the Diva with a Destiny, and invite another queen to the show. I want you, because if you know someone or yourself personally that is loving God and want to walk in your purpose, you need to pull up a chair at the table tonight and catch the nuggets that they will be dropping. And as I tell everyone, week after week, it costs you nothing. You grab the information for free, and then you can send them a DM and connect with them, because these women are doing the thing. So I need you to pull up a chair, tag, share, and like the episode. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Destiny Chasers, Arthur Pierre Collins. And so I am excited. So we are going to move right along. I pray that everyone is doing well, that is sitting there watching at the table. Get Sister Ray, Pookie, all of them, family members, get them on, because we're talking about finances. We're talking about psychology with a psychologist who is a phenomenal, she's in the school system. And so she's going to be able to share some lights, because it's important that we have people that are supporting and backing our children when they are in school. Because sometimes children of color, I always say, because I have two of my own and a grandbaby of one, that I believe that we get the short end of the stick some of the time. Our kids doesn't get all the benefits that should be available to them. So you need someone in your corners. We need psychologists and people that are helping in the school system that knows how to speak the language behind closed doors, where parents may not be privy to some of the information. So with that being said, pull up your chair at the table and enjoy the show. So this evening, I just want to put something out there really quickly that I heard Steve Harvey said, and I actually shared it in a live early this week. He says, if you have a big dream, meaning it's bigger than you, it's more than your passion, it's not a habit, but you have a big dream or a big vision, never tell it to a small-minded person. And I'm going to say that again. Never tell it to a small-minded person. Why? Because they will try to talk you out of. Girl, do you think you can do that? Girl, I don't know about that. I wouldn't do that. I would say this, but I'm not going to say that. Well, nobody asked you, first of all, Kate. Number two, God showed it to me. So it's my responsibility to nurture it, to invest in myself, and thirdly, be committed to whatever it is that God has called me to do. And so I say that to you. I'm reminding you, I'm your auntie, the Diva. So whatever God has called you, sometimes we've got to zip it up. We don't have to tell it all. We don't have to put it out there immediately. The Holy Spirit will allow you, it will tell you and give you the okay to do so when it's time. Because sometimes we, like a baby, when you are pregnant, when you're with child, we don't want to have our children prematurely because there may be complications. And I can speak from experience because I had one premature and there was some complications. And so we want to carry our baby full term in the natural as well as in the spiritual realm when it comes to your business. Let's not do things prematurely. So you write it down, because what gets written down gets done. So if you don't even invest the time to journal and write it down and make your notes, 9 times out of 10, it won't get done. So that book, that dream, starting the business, writing that nonprofit, whatever that God has given you to do that's in your heart, write it down, work on it daily. Write it down and work on it daily. So I'm repeating that. Success, leave clues. Write it down and get moving in it. So we're going to move right along. We got the ladies backstage, and so we're ready. We're ready to open up. And let's welcome them to the show. Great evening, Queen.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
All right. We have Miss Jada Johnson and Morgan. I want to call her by her last name, but I have to say Morgan, the mom strategist. This queen is talking about finances. And so we all love to talk about money and finances and how to invest and where we should do, where we put it for the long haul, because we're building legacy. So I'm excited to have queens on the platform today. And before we get started, there's always going to be an icebreaker. And instead of doing 3 words, we'll do 2 today, since I have 2 of you on the platform. I'm going to give you 2 words. And so you give me something, whatever comes up will come out. And you don't have to think about it long, just speak. So for Morgan, well, the word will be the same. Morgan, I'm going to say legacy.
When I think of legacy, it makes me think of what you leave behind, right? Like what's done and how you are remembered. I feel like legacy is something that we always talk about. We want to have this amazing legacy, right? But we don't think about how we can actually live in the legacy. That's something that one of my mentors actually said is, we're so concerned with leaving a legacy that we don't worry about how we can actually live in the legacy. So I want to definitely live in the legacy. I also make a legacy impact, something that goes well beyond me and just my initial reach, but something that makes a huge impact on an entire community of people. So that's what I think of when I think of the word legacy.
Jada?
So when I think of legacy, I think more so like a mental health standpoint. So what am I doing now to take care of my mental health that's going to impact the generations that come behind me? And what type of legacy, also working in the school system, can I leave? I don't plan on working in the school system for forever. So the short time that I am in the school system, what can I do? What type of impact can I make on children's lives every day that will leave a legacy with them? I don't have children of my own, but I still think I can leave a legacy through the children and the lives that I do touch within the school system. So I think about just a little bit differently, more so like a mental health standpoint. If I do have children one day, how can I pass on like healthy mental health practices? And then working in the school system, the lives that I do touch, how can I leave a little gem of like the 5 minutes that I spend with children, and so that it can go with them the rest of their lives.
That's beautiful. Both of these, well said. And second word will be, I would say, well, no, that's very close. I almost said impact, but that's so close because we want to make an impact that's far beyond you and I. We have basically the day. So I think I'm going to say resilience.
Resilience makes me think of, how you continue going even when there is every obstacle in your way, like every wall that could be erected erects, and being resilient is you figure out a solution around those challenges, a solution that helps you get through those things. So I think that that's what I think of when I think of resilience. I think it's important to be resilient, because the dreams and the goals and the things that we want to accomplish, they are not easy. So if you don't have that resiliency, you're not constantly pushing for it, it's not going to happen. So I feel like that's something that everybody definitely needs a bit of ounce of.
I heard that. Jada.
And I was gonna say something similar. The first thing that came in my mind was like how to bounce back, how to keep going in the midst of the things that may come up in your way. How do I bounce back? And then looking at resiliency like every single day, because we may think of like we're being resilient when it comes to like big obstacles, but just even the little things from day to day that may come up. How can you bounce back? In that sense as well. So I think like how to bounce back, how to move forward in spite of things that are going on. So similar to Morgan is exactly what popped in my mind as well.
Wow. And it's funny you say that, Jada, because that's one of my hashtag, but I would hashtag bounce back anointing.
Mm-hmm.
My parents would always say, you are so courageous, you're resilient, you just bounce back, you just go. And so I heard that years ago that I have a bounce back anointing.
Right.
So I hear you. I hear you both, but it's I'm tickling inside because you, that's my word. Yeah, I'll bounce back. Being resilient, that's what it takes. And like you said, it's not always the big things, it's the small things. Just
Absolutely.
up for me, showing up every day, just being committed. That takes resilience. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be courageous just to show up, because sometimes it's not always easy, but because I know that it is worth it,
Right.
I show up. And it's not me, but it's for others, the lives that I am responsible to impact, the lives that I am responsible to make a difference. And so leaving some type of impact, it could be really small. It doesn't matter what it is, but there are people that are waiting on you. There are children that are waiting on you to, as a psychologist, and just kind of go to bat for them and giving that extra little smile or that hug or whatever the case may be, or just a parent that may need you to speak the, they are not privy to that. They may not even know how to do it. They just know that there's an issue with the child, but I need help. And I would parents like that. So I see that. And I'm jumping already in, but definitely being resilient. As Morgan said, it's not easy, but it is definitely worth it when you, and the purpose God has called you to, um, you got to figure it out. It's like, I don't understand, Lord, why this is happening. And I'll say too, before we roll into the conversation, on my empowerment prayer call this morning, the word was joy.
Mm-hmm.
Finding joy in the little things. It didn't always have to be the big things, but finding joy even in the little things, even when things are going bad, when it's not working out, it doesn't seem like no one is supporting or no one is showing up. Will you still go to the conference and there's one person that showed up? For me, I've done that. I speak to that one as if I have 1,000 in a room.
Absolutely.
I've spoken to 100 as if there was 1,000 in a room. So God has called me to it. He's going to break through it. And I go in there with everything, the excitement and the joy, and just do it. Because it's not about numbers. For me, it's all about quality, not quantity.
Absolutely.
So when we get that, there's absolutely nothing that will stop us. So moving right along, great answers, great response, queens. I love that. What you both said, so powerful. So ladies, we are moving into the conversation. All right, viewers and family, I need you to tag, share this episode. You can go to YouTube at Destiny Chasers, or you can go to my business page at Arthur Pierre Collins, Destiny Chasers Soaring. So I need you to share the information that is coming out. And like I said, it's free on Table Talk. Now, after Table Talk, for these ladies' services, because they're business women, they're entrepreneurs, they are visionaries. And so it may not be free, but tonight the nuggets are free. And it costs you nothing to watch. It costs you nothing to share, to help empower someone else. So I ask that you share this episode with family and friends that women that that maybe have a desire to move into business, but don't quite know how to get their feet wet, don't know how to start. So get them to jump on. But we're celebrating. The theme for the month is celebrating women that are accelerating. So women that are accelerating in business, we want to celebrate you. We say kudos to you. We give you applause. If no one has told you, ladies, today that you are amazing, I'm telling you today, you're amazing, you're bold, you're beautiful, and I'm grateful for your life. Grateful. So on today, Jada, if you would tell the viewers who Jada is, I'll tell you a little bit about who you are, and we'll get into what you do. But I want to get you all introduced properly.
Okay. So I'm Jada. Like Miss Pierre said, I am currently a practicing licensed specialist in school psychology in Texas, school psychologist in Georgia. So I'm licensed in both states. I live in Texas, and I've lived here about December, I think will be about 4 years. So I'm a little bit outside of the Houston area, so Bryan College Station area. I will be going back to school in the fall to pursue my PhD. Yes. So I'm excited, but I'm also nervous
Right.
about this next chapter. And I really just enjoy traveling the world with my friends and my family, dancing, and really just enjoying life and taking it a day at a time. So that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. That's a lot. I'm
Yes.
excited and so proud that you are making that move and that decision to go back to school. I always say that in my daughter, Jada and my daughter are best friends, and so
Yes.
say that I said y'all two are professional students,
Yep.
which is which is a good thing because you're thinking about leaving a legacy because your education you're impacting globally as
Mhm.
well, and so your dash is going to mean something. At the end of the day, it's going to mean something. So there's going to be a lot people will have to say about you all once your season is up here on Earth because
Right.
you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
Morgan Cleveland, aka financial strategist. Tell them who you are and what you do.
All right, all right. So, hey, everybody, my name is Morgan Cleveland. I am a financial educator. I also am over a movement that I just started called Moms Mastering Money. And that is basically a community of women that are all about empowering each other, teaching each other. We do talk about motherhood because that's an important topic, right? We also talk about mindset and we speak about money as well. Because a lot of times, just because we may be single mothers, or even if you are, in a relationship or whatever, you don't have to be broke. So I like to be the person to actually help people learn about the things that we need to know as far as finances to help them get to where they want to be. Because a lot of times we have these huge goals and these huge dreams that we want to actually achieve, but we don't have either the time to do it or we don't have the money to do it. So I like to serve as the bridge to kind of help connect people with those resources. So that is what I do. I'm from Ohio. I have two small kids myself. I am extremely passionate about just helping other people, right? I've always been a helper. And I think that that's important. Like we need to just help each other, and help can be something as simple as just knowledge. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also partnered with a financial services company as well. And then through that, we're able to also help people with their finances too. So it's an all around thing. So that's a little bit about what I do.
Wow. Bye. Mom, two little children. What ages are your children, Morgan?
4 and 5. That's why I had to turn off the camera a second ago. They're like, Mom, we need you.
Mom is 24/7. Mom is 24/7. I understand.
Yes, yes, yes.
But of course mine are 26/5. So thank God.
Look, I'm working to that point, right? They're not there yet.
You'll get there.
Um,
You will.
they definitely will, but I'm learning to appreciate it,
That's
at every stage. Because I feel like regardless of whether you're a child or you're an adult, there's something new at every single level. And my kids are even always teaching me. A lot of times we don't think about how, like, we know that we're the parent, right? But you can look at your kids sometimes and see what they actually teach you and just what they believe and how they feel and how they kind of think about things.
good stuff.
um
Hmm.
so I get inspired by them the same way I'm sure they get inspired by me as well. So I'm excited.
You should be. That's you sound like you're a phenomenal mom. That is awesome
Thank you.
for my children. And I never wanted to be that parent that I'm never wrong. If I'm wrong, it might take a minute. It used to take a minute. If I'm wrong, I would go back and definitely apologize. Or they would not listening, mommy. You didn't listen. But it's like, no, I'm listening, but you're gonna have to hear me out first. So yes,
Mhm.
it's because they're able to teach us some things too. And my girls, of course, are grown and gone, and so they're still teaching mommy as I am still in their ears with some things. But I embrace every moment that embrace every. So I applaud you um, for all that you do. So first question, I guess we want to talk about how important, because you both are influential women that are making impact. So how important would you say it is for you to guard and protect your mental health, because you help people globally, and how important is that for you to do, Jada?
Yeah, so I said that's the number one thing, because if I'm not at the best shape that I should be mentally, or if I'm not in the right mindset, I'm not the best school psychologist to show up for the children that I serve, or the parents that I advocate for in meetings in schools. So I always try to put that first. And sometimes working in a system of education, that may mean I have to take some days off to take care of myself. Now, my job, the work is still there. When I take off, it doesn't go away. So I have to kind of have to balance sometimes. Okay, take off to get some rest and relaxation so that I can be my best. But then that kind of gives me like a shorter deadline to get the work that I need to get done. So it's definitely a balancing act. But that may look differently every week to week. Like today, I took off and I said, you know what? I'm going to take time to take care of my needs so that when I return on Friday, I can be the best Miss Johnson that I can to these students. And like I said, it may change from day to day, week to week. Sometimes it may be taking a day off. Other times it may be closing my door at work, not answering my work phone so I can get things done. Other times it's staying late at work. It just depends. But I feel like my mental health is number one, because if I can't show up for myself, there's no way I can show up for others. And I think there's like a saying about you have to fill up your cup first before you can fill up the bucket or cup of others. And I strongly believe that.
That's
Um, and I try to encourage other adults that I work with too to kind of do the same thing, because I can't be the best friend or coworker or advocate if I'm not doing what I need to do to support myself. So I think that's number one, especially working in the mental health field. It can be taxing on myself to deal with so many difficult, or to hear about so many difficult situations that children are in, and it can be hard sometimes. But just telling myself, Jada, you do you, and you be the best person that you can be, and that way you can be the best person to support others. So that's the way I kind of think about it. It's definitely number one, and it's not easy all the time. It's not easy. I teach about mental health, but it's also a struggle myself, so I have to do things. It doesn't come second nature. I have to do the things that I'm preaching, or advocating for the children and parents to do as well.
absolutely, wow, absolutely, totally agree. Working in your take.
Yeah, so I think that, like she said, mental health is like super important. Growing up, we didn't really think about the mental, our personal mental health. And a lot of times, especially as moms, you do what you need to do for your kids. You feel like you just need to push on, push on, push on. But when I really started sitting here thinking about it, and it really happened like over the pandemic, is when I started taking my mental health more seriously, because now I was at home more. There were more stress, there were more stressors around, right? There was a lot more going on. And honestly, y'all, my kids just went back to school last month. They've been out prior to that, they had been out for 16 months. So having the kids home every day on top of trying to run a business and taking care of my own things too, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, because I just made them priority and I had to learn how to make myself priority. Because like you said, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If I have nothing inside of me, there's nothing I can give to you. You know what I mean? I can't add anything to you. So mental health is definitely important. I am an advocate of it. I will tell anybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, you work a 9 to 5 or whatever, hey, when your body tells you you need a break, take a break. When your body tells you to sit down somewhere. I don't care if you got a stack of papers that you need to get graded. Go take a nap. You know what I mean? Like, go do what you need to do for you, because when we are not doing what we need to do to make sure that our mental health is on point, we start going at everything that we're going at, and we may miss certain things, right? And then you also get drained too. So I feel like your mental health is definitely important. If there's somebody struggling with mental health, please reach out to somebody, talk to them about it, because a lot of time, especially in our community, y'all know what I mean by our community, we look at mental health as like a stigma. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not going to a therapist. I'm not that bad. I don't need a therapist. You might need therapy, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. So get the help that we need. If you need help, get help. I think that mental health is so, so, so important, and it's underrated. It really is. So I think that that's important. Take the time that you need. You can't just be work, grind, and think that you're going to become this amazing, incredible person that God actually designed you to be, when you're just constantly pushing yourself and not giving yourself that time to actually calm down and recharge and relax and do the things that you need to do. So it's definitely important. I am a fan, an advocate of mental health.
Well, and I totally agree. You're right, both of you, because if you are depleted, you have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be effective. And that is my number one thing, to be effective in any way possible. So if I have not taken the time, and that's a part of self-love and self-care, protecting and guarding your mental health, that's self-care. So say, well, how I care? I mean, I care about I'm going to do the necessary things to take care of me.
Mm-hmm.
If it is taking a longer bath where I may just go in there and get out 20 minutes, sometimes I take it out, that quality, that quiet time, just to do nothing, or just to take a nap, as you said. And I was bad about that, where, once I'm up, oh no, I don't take naps in the middle of the day. Well, if my body is requiring, I'm taking it. I'm taking it, because I'd rather my cup be overflowing than half full, but overflowing. Some people, and Oprah says, so when you say I'm full of my, mean it. Mean it. That is overflowing. I am overflowing in my joy, in my peace, in my strength. I am overflowing. Why? Because I care about me. Guard my mental health, to guard my mind, try to manage my mind. And some people say, oh, it's difficult. So how do you manage your mind? Guarding your thoughts. If you have to journal some things, and that's something that I do, I journal. I write my thoughts out. I talk to myself. I affirm, I approve. I stand in the mirror and I talk to myself, and I remind myself of how valuable and worthy I am. So that's a part of self-care, or self-eye care. So the mental health is definitely number one on the list. And so that's how we stay full, so we can, pour into other people. But as you said, Bo, if we are empty, can't be effective, we're non-effective, we're depleted, we have nothing to give, because there's nothing left. So yes, moms, if you're listening, share the episode and continue to guard that mental health. It's important and it's irreplaceable. And so you said something, Morgan. We as a people back in the day, I'm not crazy, or they the only one go. No, we don't do that. Oh yes, we do. Yes, we do. We need it, and it's available. And like you said, it became so stressful during COVID, after being hospitalized and going through it, for myself and my husband. And when we reached out, needing to reach out, half of the doctors that we call, the psychologists, they were saying they're not even taking new patients, because it was overwhelming for them. So many people realize, at every race, it's like, I need to talk to somebody. This pandemic has really taken a toll on everyone. And so definitely it is important to go and, get some help and just talk to somebody. Sometimes it just, makes a difference, just to kind of get clarity about your thoughts with someone on a professional level. So I say a professional level, because we can call someone and they can feel worse than what you're going through. So make sure that you out to the professionals, somebody that can, and then experts that can talk to you and, know how to kind of, Jada, you know how y'all do it. You know how to ask the right questions and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
allow us to speak and whatever. But to the viewers, I say definitely if you feel you need some help and you need to talk to somebody, reach out.
And I'll say nowadays too, it's great because there's so many clinicians of color, whether that is like psychologists or social workers or LPCs, licensed professional counselors that are out there. So it's amazing how far the field has come. And so for people who, and I'm like this too, I prefer to have a counselor who looks like me because they may be able to relate to my experience more and the things that I'm going through. So I'm just thankful that the field has progressed so much that there's a lot of black clinicians and then clinicians of color. We could definitely use more, and we have a ways to go. But I'm thankful that there are so many platforms where you can find clinicians of color online on Instagram. There are databases that are out there that just have clinicians of color or black clinicians, women clinicians, so that you can find someone that would best suit you, because I think that's important too when looking for a mental health professional.
Wow, that's good. That is good. So thank you for that. So, Miss Morgan, so when we talk about uh, finance and as you're helping mothers, what are a couple of things that you share to them the importance of getting things, I guess, lined up to be able to leave a legacy? How would you, I guess, what would be a strategy? Give me two strategies that you, as you're giving the spill, to expose them to a better way of things, married or not.
Okay. You said two because it sounded like it was going in and out for a second. You said give you two strategies that I would give to moms that are looking to be able to start improving their finances and leaving that legacy.
Absolutely.
Okay. One strategy I would give you is stop asking broke folks for advice. Like, if they're not where you want to be, don't ask them for financial advice. I mean, it sounds crazy, y'all, but I'm being serious. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we'll ask a friend, oh, I'm about to get my tax refund back. What should I do with it? And they'll tell you something like, oh, go buy some new furniture, when the furniture that you got is perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with the furniture you have. You know what I mean? You can make better choices. So yeah, one, stop asking broke folks for advice. And then two, when you see people that are where you want to be, ask them how they got there. You know what I mean? Ask for advice for where you want to be. Start being around people that can teach you how to actually get there. And then just the third little bonus one I would throw in there too is don't be so prideful that you can't ask for help. Because a lot of times people are sitting up here, they'll see the posts that I make, they'll see the reels, they'll see the information is available, and they'll just pass it over.
Yes.
Knowing good and doggone well that they just got paid on Friday and now here it is on Monday and they broke, and they need the information. And I'm not trying to be funny. Like, I'm being serious because y'all know how we are about money. We weren't raised where we were comfortable talking about money. It was like a taboo kind of thing. You didn't ask your parents how much they made. If you asked for something when I was little, they would tell you, what you think I made of money? You think money grow on trees? You know what I mean? Like, those are the kind of answers that we would get. So it kind of made us subconsciously fearful of talking about it. You know what I mean? So you have to be comfortable talking about money, and you have to know who you can get advice from and who you can't get advice from, right? And when you see people, like I said, that are where you want to be, take the information that they're giving you. Learn the things that they're giving you. Because there's very few wealthy people, like wealthy people out here in the world that you can actually sit down with and ask them, hey, how did you actually get where where you are? So those few people that you do find that are where you want to be, ask them. And there are people that will tell you. Like, that's how I ended up with this information, is because I have mentors that are actually wealthy that teach us how they got there. You know what I mean? And if I had been listening to my broke friends that were telling me, oh, that's not gonna work. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That sounds like, that sounds like this and that sounds like that. Then I would be sitting up here still dealing with my student loans, and I would have no idea of when I can actually be debt free. And you know what I mean? Like it would have taken me down a different path. So those really are my two suggestions. Stop asking broke folks for advice, and then start asking people that are where you want to be, or that you see are on the journey to where you want to be. Ask them what they're doing. Ask them what they're doing. Don't be afraid to ask for information. Don't be afraid of that, because when you know you need something and you don't speak up about it, nobody's a mind reader and you don't get it. And then you end up stuck where you are. So if you want something better, you got to be active and let people know so that you can actually get the correct resources to be able to get there.
That's real good. Absolutely. Say back in the day, closed mouths don't get fed. So if you need, you open up and you ask. That's one thing I have never been afraid to ask questions. Now, I will say, because some women or queens, I try to respect all queens, are not always willing, but they are just a few. They're not willing. You go to the next success story and reach out and ask them. So I completely agree with everything that you said. Everybody's not willing to share. And then everybody is not willing to support you either, because and Jada in business, Morgan in business, I'm in business. I'm sure that if we think about it and be honest, we all three can honestly say could probably support, but they just choose not to. And a lot of times I learned in my 50 years, when you are being successful in what you're doing and you're doing something positive that's making a difference, everybody's not going to forward, number one, because you at themselves. And so they see maybe how they're being insignificant what God has given them. They're not making any positive, so they're judging what you're doing because they're not doing anything. They're sitting on the sideline, they're judging, or they're strolling, as I call them. They show the views they're watching, but they won't come and say, well, or girl, I see you doing it, super proud, keep going, keep pushing. So when I said I joy in encouraging another queen, inspiring another queen, that to me, that is important to me, because I'm not the only one that wakes up, maybe having something that I face that is not easy, because there are other people just like myself, just like you, just like Morgan and Jada, just like us, going through something. And it may not be humongous, it may not be big, but it can be something small. But you never know what a positive word will do or how it can make a difference in what they're going through. And so today, even today, I said, find the joy in whatever that you're facing today. So it doesn't matter what it is, just see the joy in it. There's something, if you look beyond what is right in front of you and change your narrative or the perspective of how you're looking at it, because you could have failed at something. Jada completed an ebook. Maybe it did not do well last month, but don't say, speak out of your mouth. I wrote this book because, I did this book because it's not doing anything. It's not making any money. Well, you just spoke that out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. Not that you do that, but I'm saying we've got to choose our words wisely. So when we speak life and not death to whatever's going on. So changing your perspective on how you look at things makes a difference. So I totally agree. If you need help, you ask. But helping, speaking a kind word is important. So Jada, I will ask you with your not the ebook, your
the flashcards.
Let's talk about that. How you are how is that helping? How you created that to help children? Let's talk about that.
Okay. So with my business, Melanin in School Psychology, it really focuses on coming up with like content and resources for like parents, teachers, other mental health professionals that interact with children. And really with the those are the two products that I have out right now are the emotion flashcards. And so I really developed those in mind because I provide counseling services to students in the school system. And a lot of students have difficulty with just the language on what they're feeling. They may have difficulties expressing their anger. And it's like, really, when we sit down and talk about it, you're presenting as if you're angry, but really deep down, you may be jealous or you may be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are a lot of resources out there on like Teachers Pay Teachers or Google that had visuals of white children. But I didn't, and I started off using those because when I started working in the schools, just trying to get tools under my toolbox of, things to use, I would just go to Google, Teachers Pay Teachers, and print off whatever they had there. And so I kind of saw a gap in the resources and not really literature, but more so like resources and things that were available for students of color that were specifically targeted for Black students. And so the emotion flashcards that I have one set that's just like from the waist up, and they are pictures of children of color, specifically Black children. And I wanted the illustrator really to focus on making sure they look like Black children, not white children with just brown skin, but the hairstyles, the noses, the shapes of their bodies, so that it's representative of the children that I serve and that they can see themselves in it. So I use them in different ways, just helping students identify what they're feeling, letting them know that, hey, our body gives us signals on how we may be feeling. And then that way it's kind of giving them the language so that when they go back to their classroom or they go back home, it's like, oh, I am frustrated, or I am sad, or I feel lonely. And then we talk about from there, okay, so now we know how we're truly feeling. Now let's talk about how we can communicate that to our parents or communicate that to our friends or teachers so that we can get the right help that we may need. And so that's a lot of social and emotional learning resources that I'm coming up with. I hope to come out with a book line. Yeah, it's been a lot, but it's definitely been worth it. And I had one experience. I used my own cards during counseling sessions, and I had one student, and it definitely was confirmation on this is what I was supposed to be doing. I was given this vision of these cards that may seem small, and I'm starting off small, but I know one day it's going to grow into something great. But when he said, "Oh, that looks like me," and I said, "And this is why I'm doing this. This is why I came up with this resource." And that just really it really warmed my heart because I'm like, okay, so the kids do notice that the cards are Black children. They do know that they look like the children on the cards, so that they can see themselves in them. So really just resources that have to do with social and emotional learning, giving children the language to talk about their emotions and feelings. And then, like I said, in the future, I would love to come up with books that just kind of explore all different emotions. And really from the Black experience as a Black child and having the community and having the family involved on how to explore those emotions. So that's what's going on right now with the emotional flashcards or the feeling flashcards that I have up for sale.
That is really, really good because I can remember when my daughters were in school, but my baby girl had an IEP. And so they were struggling, and some kids were like far worse than what she was struggling in her math and different things. And a lot of them could not because I was always a room mom and always trying to be involved because I wanted to be there.
Right.
And they could not express what they were feeling. They couldn't find the words. They would just spaz out, just crying and kicking the walls or, and turning over the desk and just doing a lot of stuff. And they had all these emotions. They didn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And I can't remember a psychologist of color being available to come in, step in, and advocate for them the way that you are doing. So I applaud you
Thank
for
you.
doing. And so, yes, you should feel good and proud of yourself because back then it was, so that's why I felt so strongly about making sure that I kept up with Deshaya's IEP, making sure that I would call them about when it's time she's due for her meeting. Call me or email me. I was calling them. And so Miss Kayla said, Miss Collins, you be on it. You don't miss a beat. I was call you next week. No, I'm calling you this week. It's
Mm-hmm.
for her meeting. Make sure that she's getting all the resources that she had, and
Right.
she's moving to her hours that may, and let's say if they had given her 20 hours for the week to come out and get some help with her IEP, it got down to like maybe 12. And then
Mm-hmm.
it was, by the time she graduated, it was like, wow. And so I know being assertive and consistent with what she needed to stand in the gap, because there was nobody like you to kind of help. And where a parent may not have done as much as I did, they just, the kids sometimes can fall by the wayside. So it is important for you to have someone, not just a parent, to advocate, because the language, because they can get in there and try to use all these big words, and I'm just looking at them, and then I get like Morgan and be like, real talk, all that you saying, because we need to talk about my baby right now and why she's having headaches and she's crying, and I need some answers. I don't need you
Right.
with this encyclopedia trying to be extra deep, because and then the real Shanae ain't gonna come out, the mama bear, because now you acting as if her feelings and her emotions and everything that she's dealing with or struggling with does not matter. Like it's
Right.
so I had to go with the Nick, and then they know like, okay, this mama, you don't want to do that, and that's because I was like, okay, it's like, where is somebody? So I would have loved for you to have been around, because back then there wasn't. I just had to do the best that I could with what I knew, but making sure that I was assertive and trying to show up for my child.
Absolutely.
That is so. Morgan, I hear you said you have a 4 and a 5 year old, so I know I already see that you're very assertive, but you stay in the game and show up when you need to show up for yours, because yours, you got them coming. It is not a parent yet, you are, and so they're just getting started. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to connect with Jada about those cards. I think that that's really important for kids to be able to learn how to express themselves, right? Because
Absolutely.
I mean, you got some adults walking around here that are grown with
come on,
kids of their own and cannot communicate what they feel. You know what I mean? So it's like they have to start learning those things early on. And my son is one of those kids that will get just so frustrated. He'll be like, I'm angry. And I'm like, but why are you angry, son? Let's talk about this. Like, I understand what you're feeling, but let's figure out, why and the source of that. So I'll definitely be reaching out to you, because I am a big advocate of making sure that, the kids have all the resources that they can so that they can, get to where they want to be and get there easier, right? Because there's a lot of things that we all, I'm sure, can look back at our childhood and be like, all right, when I have kids, my kids are not dealing with this, they're not dealing with this, they're not dealing with that. So I want to make sure that I do give them all the resources possible. So the flashcards sound awesome. I said all that to say
Thank
the
you.
flashcards
Thank
sound
you.
awesome.
Thank you. You're doing a great job even starting those conversations.
ooh, yes,
Well,
yes,
thank you. I appreciate it.
absolutely. So I guess my last question I would have for the both of you, as women influencer, you definitely hit it on the head when you said stop asking your friends. Girl, that just sweetened my tea, because that is true. I tell my children, you can't be the smartest nail in the box. You should not be the smartest and the sharpest in your circle, because if you are, that means you need a new circle. You want people that will challenge you. You want people that will inspire you to be better, than where you are. And then there are people that need you. So it's like it should be a ladder. Don't be where, all of my friends or, this and that, we're all doing great, wonderful, but make sure that they're able to build you up and encourage you, and you're able to do the same. It's like, it works hand in hand. But if you are the only sharp nail in the box, need a new box, need a new circle. So don't be afraid or tell them, don't be intimidated to have someone that is making more money or doing something different than what you're doing, because you can learn and you can grow from it. So definitely, this has been great, great conversation, and I have had a lot of things that cross my mind, not sense, just talking to you about things. But Morgan. Megan is my actress for my play.
Everybody does that with my name. I appreciate you, just not for calling me Morgan Freeman. I've had that happen before.
I have a Morgan and a Megan, so yes, my apologies. My apologies. So, and we've talked about mental health of it, and especially in the roles that you are in, that you walk in on a day. Talk about how important it is. So, would you definitely want to encourage the people, the children, the parents, that is important to. So not only are we talking about women that are accelerating business, Jada, if you can leave two important tips for, I guess, the parents, because the children. So I would say the parents that may be struggling in some areas, um, maybe tips to what they should do. What would be the steps to reaching out, or what can you leave to them to help them to know? It's like, maybe, okay, I need to write this down and take some information from Miss Jada on how.
Yes. Yeah, so if you like are a parent out there and you're noticing that there are some difficulties, whether that's like academically or behaviorally with your child, and you would like that assessed or just addressed in the school setting to see what the school can do to provide supports for your child, I would definitely reach out. So number one, reach out and communicate what you're seeing at home to the school system. So that may be reaching out to a teacher or the school counselor or the principal. And then they usually, if you're wanting like an evaluation to see exactly what's going on or to help give more answers, I would definitely reach out and let them know, hey, I would like my student evaluated. Because legally, as parents, you can request an evaluation for like special education anytime throughout the school year. And the school district is legally obligated to at least hear out your concerns and then see if an evaluation is warranted or not. So I would definitely say communicate, and then two, just advocate. When y'all were both talking about, especially Miss Pierre, about your youngest daughter and the difficulties that she was having, it made my heart happy because I always tell parents, you know your student best. We may be with them throughout the school day, during the year, but you know your child the best. So speak up. So if you see something that's not right or you have concerns in the area, advocate for your child. If you believe that the schools are doing interventions or they're proposing something to help your child and you don't think that's enough, or that you don't think that would be the right fit for your child, advocate, let them know, speak up and say, you know what, I don't think this is will work for my student because my student is X, Y, and Z. I think, what about this? I see this working at home. Maybe we can try this at school. And then just continue to develop those partnerships and relationships with the school, because when the parents and the school system are on the same page, I think that's just a recipe for success when it comes to making sure that children get all their needs met, whether that's academically, behaviorally, mentally, just kind of being on one page and speaking up for your student.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I do know, Jada, that you work of two schools. So do you have a certain age group that you are a psychologist for, or?
Yes, ma'am. So this year I actually have four schools. So I'm very busy at work. So I have four schools, four elementary schools this year. And so I usually work with students anywhere between like four, and I would say elementary school in my district ends at fourth grade. So anywhere between 4 and 10 years old are the students that I work with. And then currently I'm doing psychoeducational or psychological evaluations for like autism, ADHD, emotional difficulties such as like depression, anxiety, those types of things. Providing counseling to students as well, and then consulting with parents, and then consulting with teachers to support behaviors at school. So I have a lot of students that I am juggling right now and trying to support. But
And my last question for you: do you recommend medication?
so I would say that's a case by case student. Like it just depends. And we always, like in the school system, we always defer that to the parent and speaking about that with their primary care physician. And for some students, where that's like for anxiety, depression, ADHD, mostly when people ask about medication, it's because of the ADHD. But I always say it's up to the family. I serve some students who the parents are 100% against medication. And then I see some students who have parents who are for it, and the students are on the medication, and everything works great. Again, there are some students who aren't on medication, and they're still able to manage and be successful at school just based off of like classroom management styles of the teacher, or academic accommodations in the classroom. So it just depends on the student, and specifically what their needs are. And like I said, I always just defer that to the parents to just discuss with their primary care physician.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, I applaud you for again for all the.
Thank you.
And if you can tell them really quickly how to reach out to you to be able to purchase the emotion cards, the flashcards, how can they get them?
Yes, so right now I'm on Etsy, and Teachers Pay Teachers are the same price on both. But Etsy, if you just go on and search Melanin in School Psychology, or if you want to just search emotion flashcards or feeling flashcards, you should be able to go through and find them. But if you go, like I said, you should be able to find them a lot easier if you just go to Melanin in School Psychology. And you're able to purchase them from there. Right now they are a printable option, but in the next few months, I'm working on having them already printed on physical, like a physical deck of cards, and then you can order them, and then they will be mailed to you.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
All right,
you.
money strategist, financial. I just love you, honey, because hey, and we all need money, and so we get it, but we don't know what to do with it, and we're reaching out to wrong people on invest or not even invest, but what to do with it. But because buying hair and just clothes is not investing. So, what are a couple of tips you could leave with the viewers on how to reach if they're interested in becoming a part of the group that you started, and I'm sure they can benefit from it. So let's chat.
Definitely, definitely. So first, I would definitely say connect with me on Instagram. I am on Facebook as well under Morgan Cleveland, but like I said, I'm about to start my Facebook group over there. It'll also be called Moms Master Money. It'll be a free group. So, whether you live on the East Coast or you live on the West Coast, as long as you're in the US, I say be a part of the group, right? So that way you can get the information. But definitely connect with me on Instagram, because I'm on there a bit more than I am on Facebook right now. And a couple of tips that I would leave you guys with is really, there's three main things that you really have to do with your money, because a lot of times we know we have to make the income, but we don't think about our cash flow, right? So stop focusing so much on making a certain amount of income and start focusing on your cash flow, because your cash flow is actually how long your money is staying with you. Because you've got people out there that are millionaires, but they live a $2 million a year lifestyle. So they just broke on a higher level. You know what I mean? But then you've also got people out here that make $60,000 a year, but their stuff is pretty low. So they're able to live the lifestyle that they want. So you don't have to necessarily become a millionaire to live the lifestyle that you want. You just have to start making better choices with the funds that you have today, right? So three main things that you really want to do with your money is save more money, make more money, and grow more money. And you need to do all three of them at the same time, because there's a lot of financial challenges that we face every day here in the U.S. Because I do have some people that are, in other countries. So I'm talking about U.S. here, y'all, because money is different in every country sometimes. But here in the U.S., there are definitely financial challenges that we have to learn how to get over. So I would definitely say if you do not know how to do those things, you don't even know what I'm talking about. If all of this is sounding foreign to you, you need to connect with me, because the information sessions that we have, they're free, right? So you are more than welcome to always come in and learn some of the things that we're talking about, how you can actually eliminate your debt, how you can get your credit together, how you can, stop paying the most amount of taxes, how you can really start not just talking about creating wealth, but really getting a plan to creating wealth. And the amazing thing is that you get paired up with financial experts. So you literally are walked through how to do all of this. You're not left out to do it alone. So definitely, if this is something that is sounding like, yeah, that's something that I need, I want to do more out of life. I want more free time. I want to be able to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, when I want to do it, because that's the whole thing, right? Like, we all like to be told what to do when you are an adult. So it's all about getting that freedom back, getting that time and money freedom. So I definitely would say reach out to me. You can inbox me the keyword makeover, and then I will send you some information to actually tell you how you can go about getting a financial makeover, because that's essentially what we do. We help you take your finances from tragic to magic, man. You know what I mean? It's possible. Let's get it, and you don't have to have a ton of experience
Yeah.
either. You can be from, you literally can be from jail or from Yale. You know what I mean? It does not matter where you are in your financial journey. If you have a desire to do more, reach out, get the information, get connected with these incredible people, and learn how to be able to do the things that you want to do and live the life that you want to live, because it's a lot of knowledge out here, y'all. I'm telling you, knowledge is one thing that it will change the game. Financial literacy will change the game, not just for you, but it'll also give your kids a head start as well. And this is the last thing I'll say. My daughter is 5, and every time that I am on live, she's always wanting to tell the people what to do with their money. She tells them, you got to save the money, you got to make the money, you got to grow the money, all at the same time. And there are literally videos of her doing this on my Instagram.
Okay.
But
That's right.
yeah, but she's 5, so it's like, even if they're not young enough to actually start working and making money and all these other things, teaching them those concepts is going to give them a head start, right? And when we don't know these things, what we're really doing to our kids is we're pushing them further behind, because now they're having to deal with the challenges and go through certain things that could have been avoided. So that's really what this whole thing is about, man, making us better as the adults, and also being able to give our kids the head start while being able to get to the point to where you can not just leave a legacy, but live in the legacy as well.
So you gave them your social media.
Yes.
All right.
Yep,
Well,
my Instagram is right there.
all right. Hey, family. Thank you all for supporting. So we are going to wrap it up. I thank you, ladies, for your talk, your tools, your strategy, your comments. This has been very, very impactful. I am greatly appreciated. This is so, so, so good. This has been a blessing. So thank you all. So Jada, you can to make the impact that you need to be doing in the school. I'm sure the parents are greatly appreciative of all that you're doing. And Morgan, keep helping the moms, not just mothers. I'm sure you're helping men, but for teen mamas all the way. So continue to help on how to invest and save it and grow it, make it and do it all at the same time, because that is definitely important. But I thank you all for Table Talk. So find Morgan on IG at Mastermom.
Mom's Mastering Money.
Mom Mastering Money.
Mom's Mastering Money. That is us. Yes.
Money. I love it. Yes, yes. And Jada, you are on IG as well. And Jada.
That's my personal page, or my business one is at Melanin in School Psychology.
I'm sorry.
Melanin in School Psychology.
Melanin in School Psychology.
Yes.
Okay. So there you can find the both IG as well as Facebook. And I am so grateful. Once again, please do me a favor and go over to YouTube, subscribe to my channel. There is videos, there's some clips of just sharing. But the mentorship is growing. I am grateful and pushing confidence, because I'm coach and queen, and I believe in helping a woman transform her life, stop hiding and dimming her lights and hiding in the corners because afraid of what other people are thinking or saying about you. Girl, who cares? And that's GURRL, girl. Okay, we don't care. I want you to step into your greatness, move in your brilliance, and be who God has called you to be. Thank you for tuning in to Table Talk. I am Arthur Pierre Collins, the auntie, your diva with a destiny, and I am always, always chasing after you. Good night, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Love you, ladies. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She's a diva with a destiny. Got purpose and zest, you see. Books, business, and accessories. She walks in favor and she's blessed indeed. She keeps her head and her heels high, and her limit soars beyond the sky. If it's purpose she's pushing, you've tuned in with Table Talk with the Diva. Why? Join in, it might free ya. Hey, hey. And if you're feeling down, come in. The enemy he's trapped won't win. For God has given you vision, and in the end you shall win. Hey. Table Talk with the Diva. Why? Join in, it might free ya.